Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this presentation. I am going to record this as if I was in the meeting, but I'm going to try to cater it to those of you who are watching it at a different time. So, um, when everyone joined, I requested that everyone's phones be on silent and all your computer tabs be closed, just so you can focus on the here and now. So we're going to do a presentation on becoming time savvy, and I'm going to go over some tips to help you make better use of your time. So time is limited, and how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. This is a quote I love by Annie Dillard. It's important for you to really start paying attention to how you're spending your time. If you want to spend your time better, you've really got to be aware of what you're doing. So, what we do with this hour and that one is what we are doing with our lives. And the days may go slow, but the years go fast. There is no rewind for life. We want to make the most of every day while we are in the moment. And while this presentation is aimed for those of us who homeschool our children, the ideas apply to all parts of our lives. The time we spend educating our children, the time we spend with our spouse and loved ones, the time we put into our friends, and the time that we spend taking care of ourselves. All of this matters. It might feel like we're being tossed around by our lives, but the fact is that we really are in the driver's seat of our life, and we decide how we spend our time. We decide how we react to things in our lives, and we are 100% responsible for our behavior. No one is making us too busy or mad or upset. We're choosing. So we can be tossed around by our lives, or we can take control and make the most of every moment that we are fortunate to be living this life. I also forgot to introduce myself, so let me just take a second here. So I am an HST and an instructional team advisor, ITA, with our schools. And I have homeschooled my children from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. My oldest is now in her second year of college. My youngest is in 11th grade with Lakeview. So I understand what it is like to be down in the trenches homeschooling our kids. I also understand what it's like to work from home and homeschool. So I have come up with all of these tools over the years of trying to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can for my family. Okay, so let me make sure this is not in the way. Okay, so I want you to get a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, you're going to fold it in half or just draw a line straight down the middle horizontally. So from left to right. So then you have a top half and a bottom half. Then in the top half, I want you to draw a line vertical just to the line you drew. So in the top half, you have two little sections, and in the bottom half, you have one big section. And we're going to use this throughout the rest of our time together. So in the top left, I want you to label it how I want to spend my time. Then I'm going to have you pause this video, set yourself a 2-minute timer, and just take 2 minutes to brain dump all the things you would do if you had all the time in the world. Don't give a lot of thought to it. Just write down what are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that you wish you could be doing with your time? So I'm going to pause my recording so you start a timer and pause as well and come back when you're done. Okay. So hopefully you had some good ideas for how you want to spend your time. Saying we're too busy is an excuse. All of these things you just wrote down, Those are things that you wish you could be spending your time doing. What I hope is that today's presentation teaches you how to say that you're too busy for all of these things that you enjoy in your life. I want to encourage you to get better at making yourself and those you love a priority. You're going to find time for these things that you wrote down by being more intentional about how you spend your time during the day. Remember, what you are doing with this hour and that hour, that is what makes up the days of your life. So you want to become more self-aware. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to what you're thinking. We cannot change something about ourselves if we're not conscious of what it is that we want to change. So step one in this process is to become very, very honest with yourself. If you know there are things that you do not want to be doing anymore and are wasting your time, you want to put in the effort to make those changes. Becoming more self-aware is going to be the important step that you want to take if you want to make the most of your valuable time here. So now in the top right, you're going to write, how do I really spend my time? And again, you're going to pause this video and you're going to take 2 minutes, set a 2-minute timer for yourself, and you are going to write down all of the ways you wish you could spend your time. No, sorry. You're going to write down all the ways that you really spend your time. What are those things that you're doing? And these can be things you enjoy, but it should also include the things that you don't, that you know are taking time up away from the things you do enjoy. Oops, sorry. I should make a note. These are all articles and podcasts and videos that if you watch this video and you want these resources, either they will be on the YouTube page where you can access them, or you can email me. My email's at the very end, and I can send you anything that you need as well. Okay, so in the meeting that we did, we took time right now to go into breakout rooms. And what you did in the breakout room was talk to your group about these questions or just shared things with each other. Since there is no breakout room, what I would ask is you pause the video again, read over these questions, answer them either on your paper or if you're doing this with someone. And then in the bottom section, you can come up with a goal. And this is in this bottom part here. Come up with a goal of how you could shift your time from an unwanted time activity to something that you really want to do. So please pause this now and look over this page as long as you need before you move on. So next we're going to do the myth of multitasking. So you're going to use your paper for this as well. I'm going to start the timer and you're going to say the letters out loud from A to J, loud and clear. You're not rushing, you're just speaking them. And just in a normal tone and a normal speed. And you're going to see how long this takes you. Start when the timer starts. You're going to write down how many seconds it took you to do that, and you're going to label that as A. Now you're going to do the same thing for the numbers 1 to 10, just loud and clear, not rushing, but not going super slow. And you're going to write down how long it takes you to do this after the timer starts. You're going to label this as B. Now you're going to add your numbers for A and B together, and you're going to label this as C. Now what you're going to do is you're going to alternate. You're going to alternate between letters and numbers all the way up to J and 10. Do not write anything down. Don't use your fingers. You have to just use your brain to keep track of where you are. This is a great representation of what we're doing when we multitask and going between changing items in our head. When you finish, write your time, and you're going to label this as D. Most people finish in about, under 30 seconds. So I'm going to stop it there. If you need more time, you can pause this video and keep going. You're going to label this as D. So now you're going to compare C and D and look at how much slower you were. Most likely, you were about twice as long to complete this task while you were switching between numbers and letters. And why does this matter? Because most people task switch all day long. They go between one thing to another, back to something else, back to something else. And if you don't think that you're multitasking, I would just ask you how often you are distracted by your phone, because that is the same thing. Your brain is getting pulled away from what you're doing to think about something else, and then you have to make a decision about what you're going to pay attention to. And if you go back to the original thing, that was a distraction. That was a task switching. So that's why this is a great way to show how task switching is very, very challenging for your brain. And why this matters is because multitasking typically makes things take twice as long, but even more important, your anxiety and stress easily doubles when you're doing this as well, because we are not meant to be doing so many things at one time. This exhausts your brain. We also get better at what we do over and over again. So you are teaching your brain to not focus every time you switch between tasks. And I feel like most importantly, the research, this is what's important, is that the research shows that people who think that they can multitask are actually terrible at it. It is an illusion of productivity. You are not actually getting more done than if you just focused on one thing at a time. So, what can we do about this? We can work on our focus. Practice staying focused for longer periods of time. It's hard, but if you practice, you will get better at it. Practice doing nothing and being quiet. We lost the days when we would just sit around and stare at the ceiling. That is where creativity lives, when we're bored. And learn to single task. It's efficient, it's productive, and it's satisfying, but you have to practice it and get better at it because it can be uncomfortable. And again, remember, all of these are links to really good podcasts and articles you can read to support these topics. And then also, you gain more time to do the things you enjoy when you focus on what you want to get done, less wasted time. So, how can you practice? These are some ways that you can work on this. Turn off all your notifications. You have to learn that it's okay to be unavailable sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And so I encourage you to start small with just like 10 minutes of turning your phone on silent or turning it off, focusing on yourself or your children, and then coming back to your phone and seeing what you missed. Increase the time that you spend away from your phone or distractions over time. Don't start too humongous because it might feel too scary and vulnerable. Pick one task to work on and break it into small, manageable pieces. The book Atomic Habits is amazing. I recommend it if you have not read it yet. And parents and kiddos, nobody really should work for more than 25 to 50 minutes at a time. We homeschool, so we have freedom. Our kids probably don't need to work for more than 25 minutes. Let them get up, let them run around, let them do something, and then bring them back and do another task. If they understand they will keep having breaks, they will keep coming back and knowing I'll have another break soon. Pomodoro is a good method for a timer. Um, if you are trying to do things on your own, like not necessarily homeschooling your kids, but you can also use it for when you're doing school and when the timer goes off, you all take a break. So it's a great suggestion. And you want to stay strong. You are going to get distracted. Pull yourself back every single time. This is how we get better at things. When we do them over and over and over again, that muscle that we're working out gets stronger and stronger. And then pay attention to yourself. Growing without self-awareness is impossible. You have to pay attention to what you are doing to make the changes that you want to change. And be patient and kind with yourself. You are retraining your brain. This takes time, it takes effort. You will fail, and that's okay. Failing is learning. You're learning how to be better at this. So then we went into breakout number 2. And again, you can pause the video here, read through these questions, and at the bottom of your paper, come up with a second goal of something that you could do that would help you to stop multitasking. So pause the video now and come back when you're done. So next, we're going to go into limiting distractions. So my step number 1 in multitasking and reducing multitasking is to limit those distractions. Those distractions are typically what is taking you off course. And common sources of distractions that I'll talk about today are phones, the computer, people, and our own thoughts. And side effects of notifications. I'm just going to put this up here. You can pause this and read through it, but notifications are not beneficial for us. And these listed here, these are just in addition, these are common ones, but there's also side effects you might experience. When you start becoming more self-aware, you start noticing how they're affecting you personally. So I encourage you to do that. So why does this matter? Distractions and notifications are the number 1 hurdle towards you getting things done. Nobody but you can create those boundaries that you need to get your stuff done. And people are only offended by your boundaries when they benefit from you having no boundaries. So please, please, I'm going to say that again. The only people that benefit from you having no boundaries, they're the ones who are going to be upset. People who love you and respect you will respect boundaries that you set up. And also, your children are learning from what you do, and you are a model for them. So you want to encourage boundaries as a way for your children to understand that boundaries are important and what you feel matters. You also get more of what you allow and what you permit others and yourself to do. So what is it that you're allowing others to do for in your homeschool day or in your work day? What are you permitting others and yourself to do? You will get more of what you allow. And believing in your own ability to get things done plays a significant role in the effort that you put in to make needed changes. So believe that you can make a change. Believe that you can change some of these things that are affecting you in your life, because that belief in yourself is going to allow you to put more effort in to make those changes. And you can do anything if you believe in yourself and work hard. So that's why this is so important. And it also ties back into your children are watching you. Model for them what it means to believe in yourself, to be kind, to work hard towards goals, because your children are watching you. So what can you do? Practice being uncomfortable. right? It's going to be uncomfortable to turn your phone off, to turn your phone on silent, to leave your phone in the other room. But being uncomfortable is okay. Those boundaries protect us and they give us breathing room to spend our time in more meaningful ways. And we have to take ownership of those choices that we're making. If we leave our notifications on, it's a choice. We are allowing ourselves to be distracted by a phone call in the middle of trying to do math with our child. If we are going on an Instagram reel black hole, we are choosing to spend our time doing that. We are choosing to procrastinate when we don't get things done. No one else can care enough for us how we spend our time. We have to acknowledge the fact that we're responsible. We need to make those hard and difficult changes that we want to make so we can spend our time doing things that are meaningful and valuable. What you are doing in homeschooling your children is so important. You have made this choice. Let your children see they are your number one priority. So, phones, what can be done? Turning off notifications, turning grayscale on. This is my number one recommendation. I guarantee you will look at your phone less if it is in black and white. It does not create that dopamine feedback loop where we just get so sucked into our phones. Just Google how to turn on grayscale or email me. I have all sorts of resources for being better with our phones. Learn how to use focus mode and do not disturb. Practice time away from your phone or actually turn it off. And again, these are like links. I think this is a link to a phone safe you can get from Amazon where you can lock your phone away for 20 minutes and you cannot get to it until that 20 minutes is over. So it's important to realize how how much effort you want to put into making these changes, but there are ways that you can make it easier by doing things like this that already exist out there to help you. This says join my book club starting next week, but we are actually 4 weeks into the book club. So if you are super interested in doing the book club, I am more than happy to support you in that. I can send you the 6 weeks of the book club. Just email me and I can get you set up with that. And then I did a podcast with on Sequoia Breeze about how to break up with your phone. And so that's a good thing to listen to as well. And yes, you're going to feel uncomfortable, but you're going to survive. Feelings pass. You will get through, and you might actually enjoy being disconnected for a little bit. Computers. So, same things. Turn off your notifications. Don't have any bars or banners going by. Limit the amount of tabs that you have open. Use an extension such as Limit or app like Freedom that can help reduce time spent. And again, this is where self-awareness becomes very, very important. To make a change, you have to be honest with yourself and conscious of the problem. And people and thoughts, what can be done? Again, this is where boundaries come in with other people and with yourself. But I do want to stop at this moment to make sure you understand relationships matter. Your 2-year-old coming in that wants to be with you while you're doing school with your older child, that is a number one priority. Relationships come over academics every time for me. I would never, ever want you to make a younger child or an older child feel unimportant because you are doing school with a sibling. I would use those moments as connection. Um, in the sessions, we did talk about some options that were really good for helping to bring those children into the homeschooling instead of pushing them out. Um, but, if your mom calls every day in the middle of trying to do reading with your students, this is where those boundaries can benefit. This is where putting your phone on silent can benefit or not having your phone near you since you are doing school. What do you allow in your workspace and your learning space? Is it noisy, messy? Is there clutter everywhere? You want to be really careful about that. And the importance of your inner voice and your emotions. Be kind to yourself. We have helpful thoughts and unhelpful thoughts. You get more of what you pay attention to. So be careful what you're paying attention to. Just because a thought pops into your head does not mean you need to pay attention to it. It also does not mean it's true or factual or helpful. Let those unhelpful thoughts go, and you get more of what you practice. So keep practicing this, and you will get better and better at it. And here's a video for on boundaries that I made for teachers, but it is still helpful, I think, for anyone if you want to watch that. Okay, so again, oops, sorry. If you're interested in this book club that I do, you can email me and I would be happy to help you with that. So here our breakout room, the third one. Again, pause this, read through it, write yourself another third goal, and unpause this when you're ready. Okay, and we're coming towards the end. So tip number 3 is to keep working on tip 1 and 2. And I also have some extra resources here. So as you master 1 and 2, you want to work on getting more organized. One of my top suggestions is just to have one place for things. One calendar, one notebook. Do not use Post-its that end up all over the place. These are ways that we waste our time. Have a home for everything so that you know where things are. Looking for things takes a lot of time. I also recommend minimizing. The less stuff we have, the less time it takes for us to find things. Here's some suggestions for creating realistic to-do lists and time blocking and similar batching similar items and planning ahead for deadlines. All of these are podcasts you can listen to that will be in the resources. And final thoughts. Think about when your prime time is. Make the most use of your time when you're at your peak. Your students, when's their prime time? Try to time things so that it's aligned. Learn how to prioritize your tasks. What needs done now, what can wait, and what can be delegated or deleted. This is the Eisenhower method that you might be interested in. And create a plan. So you've written down some goals. Who can help you? What do you need to reach those goals? Small steps over time add up to huge changes, but if you just put this paper away and never look at it again, those goals are not going to be reached. So make sure you come up with a plan. What do you wish you had more time to do? You can make the changes you need to get that time. You have the power to spend your time in meaningful ways. The resources for this presentation will hopefully be somewhere under this video. If not, please email me. The caveat on this resource is, please remember this is like 10 years of my life that I've been gathering these things up and making changes. Do not try to change everything at once. Pick one thing and focus on that one thing. Succeed at that and then move on, pick something else. So thank you for attending. Remember, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And my email is down at the bottom. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns or want some more resources. Just please let me know. And thank you so much for taking time to watch this video.